And hello, we are live for the second of our Board State podcasts. I am your host, Dave, and I am joined by my other hosts, Matt,
Hello.
Sam,
Salutations.
and Dan.
Hello.
Hello. Salutations, that's brilliant. So yeah, today I'm looking at notes. Look, we did notes, fucking professionals here. Today we're going to be looking at a couple of things of our least and most favorite. Starting off with mechanics, and we've got some shout outs for the guys that put up posts on the Facebook page for us, which we really appreciate. And then we're going to touch on a hot topic of a companion, and whether or not companion is a good thing or a bad thing, and how much we all hate us, apart from Matt, because he's a monster. So yeah.
Good card is good.
Good card is good. Yeah. Okay, right. Well, we'll just get kicked straight into it then. Matt, what's the least favorite of your mechanics over the years in the
My
wonderful
least
world of Magic?
favorite would probably have to be Infect. Not only because Daniel Patterson's got a bad habit of killing me in Commander with it, but because I feel like it cheats in the wrong ways, if you know what I mean. So like there's a lot of mechanics in Magic the Gathering that let you abuse certain things and do gain a lot of advantage, but by simply playing Infect you immediately half your opponent's life total no matter what you're up against. That's what I don't like about it the most. I feel like when there's things like Phyrexian mana where you can cheat mana costs.
Mm-hmm.
But the game states, you start with 20 life. That's a universal thing. Not all decks have, you can just pay Phyrexian. Okay, yeah, I put Phyrexian in my deck, I now get to cheat out mana. So most common of this sort of stuff, I don't really see it much in any other format. Like there is a couple bits and pieces, but it's mostly Commander. Like Crick is a big thing. You love a bit of Crick yourself, I know.
Love that,
and that's fine. But like if somebody's playing Infect in Commander, like Blightsteel Colossus and stuff, it's just like it's a real feels bad. And it's the same in like Modern, where you go up against an Infect player, and despite whatever deck you're playing, you could be playing a top tier Wurza combo deck. You can be playing Prime Time, and they're just going to go turn one land or something, turn two Blight Agent, and scale up, and you're already one turn away from dying. Not a fan.
Yeah.
So
that's fair. I mean, that's one my list as well is Infect, and pretty much for the reasons that you've said. I think it's quite it just, like you say, it just feels bad, isn't it?
Certain things mess with the fundamental basics of Magic.
Yes.
Yeah.
And those things are generally the ones that are unfair and or unliked.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like, and the thing is with Infect, like you can, it's the Boggles thing, where Boggles intends to slap a lot of enchantments on something that you can't remove unless you board wipe. Infect is much of the same. They have the same sort of game plan, except they're not syncing all these, like they're not going all in on one. They're just going to go, okay, I'll cast 2 little Infect creatures, and whichever one you don't block is going to get +10/+10 and you'll die.
Yeah.
And that's usually around turn 3, 4, And it's just like, could you not, please, one time?
And yet you're the first person, probably the most likely person to infect somebody to death in Modern in our local community because of your scales list.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I run Inkmold Nexus and Scales because this is what I'm saying. I don't like the mechanic. I'll abuse it because it's abusable. I don't like it. As in, like, you know what I mean? Like, if I can kill somebody in a single swing, I'm going to do it. But I feel like the mechanic itself is a mistake.
Yeah. Plus the fact with Inkmoth Nexus, like there's a lot of play arounds with Inkmoth Nexus.
Yes.
Before it becomes really scary, you've got there's got to be a Ravager on board. There's got to be a Scales on board.
You've basically got to sacrifice your whole board for the Hail Mary.
Yeah,
as well.
Exactly. And if your opponent's sitting there holding a Fatal Push, and you're like, oh, swing for 10 with my Inmoth next, and he's like, fatal push. Oh,
Because you're
So
most
my-
likely
so my
sack your entire
board-
board.
yeah,
Yeah, you-
exactly.
You're most likely sack your entire board for this one particular combat step, and it's you.
Yeah.
You get blown out real hard.
Whereas if
I did
you've
that
got
exact thing when I borrowed your modern deck, sacked my whole board, miscounted, and put him on 9 infect.
Yeah, that's a niche only most hardened scales players know how to.
yeah.
do.
Oh, that is a
Mathing, Mathing
Oh.
is number 1 in that deck.
yeah. Jesus. Okay, yeah. So
Another artifact.
okay, so I think we're gonna have a slightly different view on Infect from Dan.
I love it.
Cool. Okay. Right. So we know you love Infect because you're a terrible person. But what's your least favorite mechanic, Dan? What would you?
Protection.
Protection.
It's a confusing mechanic. Every
Okay.
time something with protection comes down, no one seems to understand what's going on with it.
Yeah.
It's a good mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
It gets around a lot of things, but it's always someone. Say a creature's got protection from everything. So you've got Progenitus out. Swings with Progenitus. You try and block it, and then they go, no, you can't do that.
Yeah. Can't block it. Can't attack. Can't remove it. Can't exile it. Can't board wipe it. Can't.
Yeah.
You can generally board wipe things with protection.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Generally. Yeah.
But the other thing that with protection is like as soon as like you can block a creature with protection, but that's when mechanics get weird. Like if it's got trample, then weird stuff happens, and it gets really convoluted to what actually goes on, and most players aren't aware of what actually happens.
Was there
unless they've
not?
dealt with the
Is
situation.
it a pioneer deck or a modern deck that abuses that? Creatures you control can only be blocked by one creature. Sorry, can't be blocked by more than one creature, but all your creatures have menace.
Yeah.
So essentially, your entire deck is unblockable.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun though.
Yeah, I mean, I think that could be quite interesting. But yeah, that's what that brought up there. That kind of
Yeah.
interesting combination of wording and Magic, and I definitely there's fun and interesting things that can be done. But yeah, I mean, protection can be a complete pain, especially if you're in a monocolor and somebody drops protection from black, and you're like, oh great. I'll just roll over now then. That's good. Yeah, that wasn't fun. And how about you, Sam? What's your least favorite?
Probably banding, but only because no, like banding itself is fine. Like as a mechanic, it's not actually a problem, but it's the meme that it's so convoluted that I get asked at every opportunity, "Oh, what's banding?" Every pre-release, somebody, probably Matthew, usually shouts when I've got any questions about the set. Is like, "Oh yeah, is there banding in this set? Can you explain that?"
It's only fun because at the start of every set, like Eldraine will introduce a new mechanic, and he'll be like, "Food tokens, you may pay 2 to sack them again." Yeah, but what does it do with banding? you gotta take your chances.
Just in that niche case that somebody accidentally opens, like, you know, an Arabian Nights booster or something.
Yeah, it's included in the pool somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, banding itself is not difficult to understand. I can see from a very new player's perspective how it is difficult to understand because, like like Infect, it messes with the basic fundamentals of how to attack and block. But once you get your head around it, it's not that bad. But so having said that, I never want to see it in a standard set. Like I just know. Because every F&M or the pre-release, I may as well just not play a pre-release that has banding in it because I'll get so many judge calls and questions about how the mechanic is supposed to work that I'll have to spend most of my time wandering around the shop making sure everything's okay.
Yeah. Well, I think you're fairly safe to say that you're not going to be they're not going to be bringing banding back into a standard set anytime soon.
I think it's 9 or 10 on the Storm scale, so
something like that. Yeah.
Thankfully, it should never come back.
What is the Storm scale?
So the Storm scale is, I can't remember who made it, whether it's an official thing or, because I know Mark Rosewater uses it in his blog post, but whether he made it or not. Basically, it goes from 1 to 10 of likelihood of a returning mechanic. So near a 10 is basically it's never going to return. I will bring it up on my screen here.
Yeah.
Is that because the mechanics are so busted, or because they're hated?
It'll be like we made these mistakes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can.
I'm fairly sure Infect. Fairly sure Infect is on that list.
Yeah.
Phyrexian Mana.
So give me a mechanic, and I'll tell you what its storm scale is.
Infect.
Infect is God. There's Jesus. I didn't realize so many mechanics. Infect is a 7 on the storm scale.
So highly unlikely. What about Phyrexian Mana?
It did return.
Well, in a Commando product, to be fair.
Phyrexian Mana is an 8, so there is more chance of Infect returning.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, the fundamentals. When you fuck with fundamentals, you kind of you know.
It's going to be so interesting to see what they do in the Phyrexian set next year.
Yeah, it'll have to be
how
some
they do that, because
watered
we're all
down thing. Did you know that Intimidate is a 10 on the storm scale?
Really?
Yes, I did actually. I was reading it when I was doing research for this episode, and I was having a look through some Evergreen, and I was on a proper Wikipedia, like, ooh, follow this link, follow this link, and yeah, I saw that. That was
Same with Fear as well. It's also a 10.
But that's the ones where it's like kind of only be blocked by another black creature or artifact creature, right?
That's it. Yeah.
So that's kind of like a niche where the only times that I've ever seen those cards is in Commander, and I've never seen them in any modern deck, anything like that.
No, they are particularly old.
Yeah, I've seen there's things like Swamp Walk and like Merfolks with their Island Walk and stuff like that that you'll get. That as a mechanic's all right. Is that on the list?
What's that? Sorry, Swamp Walk.
Yeah, any sort of land walk.
Land walk.
It'll be Land Walk. Yeah. Let me find that on my list here. Land Walk is a 9 on the storm scale.
Oof.
Wow.
Yeah, because it messes with another fundamental where you can't block now. I'd imagine it's quite high.
But on the flip side of that, where is it? Unblockable. Where's Unblockable? Okay, Unblockable is not on the storm scale. No, because that's not a mechanic, is it?
It's not a mechanic. No, it's a keyword.
Keyword. So yeah.
I think that's what's his answer for a lot of things these days is just put more keywords and less weird mechanics.
Yeah, I think that works better. But okay, right. So down the rabbit hole, Dan, what's your favorite mechanic?
Infect.
Oh, it's funny because I knew it was coming. My camera's died. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's all right.
Triumph of the Hordes, one of my favorite cards in Commander.
Yeah.
Because a Hapatra snake tokens list. Mm-hmm. You go wide, and then you just kill everyone with Infect in one go.
A nice answers all.
Yeah, feels good, man.
That's it. Everybody dies. Nice and it's clean and simple, isn't it?
My second favorite mechanic is Proliferate.
Proliferate's good as well.
I haven't got you on 10 Infect.
It's quite good how your two favorite mechanics go hand in hand.
Yeah.
it's funny how that works. It's synergy. Oh
yeah,
wow.
Man. Love them.
Yeah, that's fair. Ends games quickly. It's nice and simple. Yeah. So, Sam.
Yes.
What would you put down as your favorite or most? Top 2, top 3.
It was a choice between a few actually, but I think probably Phyrexian Mana because it's broken.
Mm-hmm.
Like it shouldn't return. Like it's bad. It should But I love the fact that Phyrexian Mana allows weird deck building situations. Yeah. So like something like Dismember is obviously a black Phyrexian card, but because it only requires 1 generic and 4 life, I run it in Colorless Eldrazi kind of thing. It's just such a premium removal card, and also it's fantastic to watch an opponent get blown out by a Dismember that you only have 1 mana open for, and you're not even in the right color. So yeah, I like anything that sort of flips the game on its head. Cards like Possibility Storm, Knowledge Pool, anything that's not the norm in a game. I'll look into that. And
Sam is a chaotic neutral.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely chaotic neutral. That's
and I also like the theme of a lot of Phyrexian cards as well. So something like Gut Shots I think is really good because it's just it's one damage, but it's a free one damage. And it's a sort of gotcha card as well, and that is the theme of the name and the art and everything for Gotcha. It's fantastic.
From art wise and flavor, you're absolutely right on that. And like, it's one of the mechanics that I think is the most true to a set.
Yes,
I think if that makes sense. Like Phyrexian Mana, I'm going to talk now. With just like the Phyrexian Mana is my top pick as well. Just for flavor reasons, I think more than anything else.
I think nearly every other mechanic in Magic can more or less. I know there's like naming conventions with it, but it can be translated into any plane. Whereas Phyrexian Mana is probably one of maybe two mechanics that can't be in any other plane without the Phyrexians themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
I think that's good. But it's also bad because what happens when we go back to Phyrexia and everybody's expecting broken Phyrexian Mana spells?
Well, there we go. How are they gonna beat it? Because I think a lot of people will have a love-hate, like a very strong Marmite relationship with Phyrexian Mana.
Yes.
I think you either think it's brilliant or you think it's awful. There's no kind of like, yeah, it's all right.
Can we get a Phyrexian Planeswalker, please?
Oh, fucking no,
baby,
God,
baby.
No!
What if when Karn goes back to Phyrexia, he gets covered in Phyrexian oil and he becomes a Phyrexian Planeswalker and you can cast
Only
him?
if his uptick is you lose 2 life.
Seems fine.
But if that now,
as in like the player who casted it lose 2
and
life.
here we go. This is it. So Karn, Phyrexian oil, doom, death, and destruction, +1, lose 2 life. Do something.
Yeah.
Minus 2, lose 2 life. Do something.
It's
6, half your life total. Do something pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
Phyrexian Mana is like it's one of my hated mechanics personally because, like I said, things that mess with the fundamentals too strongly annoy me. But it doesn't mean I won't abuse them as a player because you'd be stupid not to. You know what I mean? As in, like, if a good card is good, you might as well, which is the reason why I like Plurus, because dumb card is dumb. So
winning is better than having honor.
There's no honor in losing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
History only remembers victors. I'll give you that much.
That's the one.
But no, it's a very cool set, and I really like the world that it's set in. Like you said, that it's really true to its to its set, and that's really sweet. But I still feel like if they were to introduce Phyrexian Mana, say next year, with all the mistakes WotC's been making recently, I'm really skeptical that they're not going to fuck it up.
Phyrexian Oko.
Yeah, like they'll put like a 2-mana Planeswalker that costs Phyrexian out, and you cheat it out turn 1 and do shit. They'll do something dumb.
Oh God! Oh, please.
I think the only other way around it, in order to bring back Phyrexian Mana or any other thing like any other mechanic like that, is to make the cards intentionally bad.
Well, they said that they did that with the partners, with the companions, and we're about to have an entire chat on them.
Yeah, we are.
You know what I mean? Because they are silly.
Yeah.
I think that's a rather neat segue as well. But I think what we'll do before we jump into that is we did ask on our Facebook page for some of our fans. I'm totally going to call you fans. That's what we're doing now. To give us some idea of what their most and least favorite mechanics were. So I'm going to kick off. I'm just going to do it in order as they come up on my page. So we've got Riath, who's the owner of our LGS. His favorite was Ante.
Ante?
Well then.
Yikes.
Yeah.
There's a reason that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to play with my deck full of commons against your modern deck, and if I win, I'm going to have a scalding turn. Thank you. That was lovely. But no, in seriousness, he loves haste and flashback. So,
he's a control player, though.
He is. He's absolutely a control player.
He's a control player at heart because to be fair to Riath, he's only been playing for a little while, and all of his successes have come from control decks. He's well engrossed. He's drawn to the dark side.
He is drawn to the dark side, and it's further compounded by the fact that his least favorite mechanic is hexproof.
He was so mad when I cheated out of No-Hull Ferox against him. Lol. So good, man.
Oh man, must have been absolutely raging. But yeah, I mean that's definitely a command, a control player, kind of mix there. You know, I'm gonna have this hasty creature. I'm gonna have a flashback creature. But yeah, next up we've got Sean. Sean's we used to be a regular player up in Aberdeen, but he's gone off down to Dundee because well, why wouldn't you?
It's nicer.
It is much nicer. God, yeah.
It used to be Scumdee, but then it got gentrified.
Oh man, I tell you what, like I lived in Dundee for years, and it's just beautiful. Just beautiful. Do a travel podcast. That's what we should do. Talk about our favourite places, because Dundee. Sorry, I'm being distracted by my dog, who's very confused by the fact that I'm talking, but not talking to anybody he can see. And now he's decided that he wants attention, so he's come over for a cuddle. But anyway, yeah. So Sean is all about Storm. Because if you've ever played Sean at Modern, Sean loves Storm. Sean, one night before the GP in Birmingham, made me change my deck choice the night before the actual event because he wanted to get practice in, and he beat me something like 14 out of 15 games with my mill deck, and I was just like, this is horrible. But he was always like, no, we need to practice game one. And I was like, yeah, all right. And the one game I won was when he let me sideboard, and I sideboarded in for Leyline of the Void. Got two of them in my opening hand. The rest of it was garbage, and I was like, I'm just going to play these, and you're going to do nothing.
Yeah, because I can imagine Mill is a bad matchup for Storm because you just put all the stuff in his graveyard, and he's like, cool, I cast Past in Flames.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm just gonna pick what I want back. Is that all right with you? Yeah, cool.
I mean, it depends on whether or not, because back in the day, I was running a playset of Surgical Extraction in my board.
What a card!
Surgical Extraction again, a Phyrexian.
Phyrexian,
really good. Just remember, I run it. Fucking thingy, I run it because they're just solid. You can't. Oh, they're just
such good cards. They're catch-alls, really useful. Yeah, really, really good. And I ran that instead of Extirpate. But yeah, I'm not here to talk about my mill deck. That'll be for another episode. When Dave just talks for 3 hours about mill on his own, and everybody else is just
like. In fact, we should do a pit deck.
Yeah, we totally should. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that's definitely something we should do. But yeah, back to Sean. I'm talking about Storm. Yeah, so he loves Storm, but he likes cycling because it can allow niche effects in your main deck, like Artifact and Enchantment Hate. So you can always just cycle them if they're useless.
Cycling cards in Ikoria are really good now.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, like, I didn't really pay them much attention when I was looking at set reviews and stuff.
Yeah.
But actually playing Arena now and seeing the effect and then just getting cycled to death.
You get blown out by that.
Zenith
X Flare or something. I can't remember.
Yeah. It's just madness. Yeah.
That's it.
Just madness.
I think cycling in this set has been a lot better than Amonkhet's because Amonkhet there was synergies and stuff like that, and cycling was a mechanic. But I think definitely in Ikoria you can build. There wasn't really a cycling deck, like a constructed cycling deck with Amonkhet, whereas there is now with Ikoria.
I'm going to go ahead and straight against the grain and say that if it wasn't the Zenith Flare, that wouldn't be good. That card single-handedly carries that deck.
Sure, that's good
in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it gives them a very, very big win con.
Yeah,
I think that's very true. That's very true. Yeah, so cycling, cycling's a good mechanic. That's one. And funnily enough, Sean says that protection's his least favorite. And I think he sums it up very nicely in it just leads to unfun games and punishes newer players. It was annoying when they brought it back, and always just leads to gotcha moments.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've got nothing really to add to that. I think he just sums it up very nicely.
It's weird because I'm pretty sure just before Dominaria or when Dominaria released, you know how there was the two knights, the white one with protection from black and the black one with protection from white.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Wizards said that they didn't want full protection ever to come back, so they were experimenting with pseudo protection like that, and they have been doing that. But I think I'm not sure if that's actually more confusing because there's a whole thing of what's the name of the one from Eldraine, the 6/1 with protection from a random number.
Hekatos.
Yeah, so like I feel that's actually more confusing for a newer player because they have to make the decision of is this protection or not, rather than I just can't block with a creature.
Yeah, but, it's confusing for me, let alone newer players. Like I've read that. I cracked one and I read it and I was like, wait a minute, but what? And then I was like, no, it's bulk. It's not worth it. I'm not even gonna bother. I'm not even gonna spend my time on this. Just get rid.
I'm not card as well, though.
The art's lovely. I will give him that. I will give him.
I like that it's bag stuff. Like obviously, like Achilles. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, on a flavor side, I mean, I think they really are banging out the flavor. Really well. I mean, Eldraine was just, it was beautiful. Just like proper, like dark fairy tale stuff. I love that kind of aesthetic, so I was really keen on that. But
Questing Beast, what a card!
Oh baby,
thank you,
baby. Yeah, right. Okay, so moving on, we'll get through these guys because we've still got Doug. So Doug is another local player, and he's echoing pretty much what we've been saying. Least favorite mechanic, Infect, mainly because of the win condition of 10 Infect still being valid in Commander. It wouldn't be so bad if it was 20 Infect or even just 15. But
you know how hard it is to get 10 Infect on someone in Commander?
Not that hard. You've done it plenty times.
That's because we play quite a lot together.
No?
There's times where I can get you on like 7 Infect and then suddenly I just die because I painted such a huge target on my back.
Because you played Infect.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's a mechanic that you have to go in on it, or you have to just bide your time.
Need to wait that turn.
But on the flip side of that, everybody at the table knows that Daniels is running this Triumph of the Hordes. So you constantly have to try and manage his board state, even if he doesn't have the fucking card.
Yeah.
Right. Look out, keep some blockers up.
Yeah, that's it. Well,
I'll fight you with my death touching snakes, though.
Oh, yeah. See,
I would say fight me,
fine with it, but
fighting's another good mechanic I like.
Yeah. Target creature gets
Golden Wall Tracker? What a card!
Yeah. Oh man, there's one. Is there a landfall card that does that as well? I don't know. That maybe that was just like a vivid dream of mine because that would be obscene.
What, fighting with landfall?
Yeah. Oof. That would be wrong. Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll forget that one happened because no.
That's pretty gross. I like it.
Yeah, I thought you would like it. Yeah. Okay, so on to Doug. Doug said that his most favourite is he can't really say that he has a favourite, but he enjoys +1/+1 counters and the maths behind it. Trying to figure out if you can manufacture a win from it. But he doesn't play it. He has to take his enjoyment from watching Matt trying to figure out if he can win from a certain situation, which is quite beautiful, I think.
I get confused easily.
Yeah. When we're then, swing out with my Inkmoth Nexus. Oh, I've done the math wrong, and you're on 9, and I've got nothing left.
It real feels bad, man.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. Right now, this is a big one. This is James. James is for those who don't know him, James is a very competitive and very talented player.
Local sadist.
Yeah, he is. Like, don't play Commander against him unless you're like in for a quick game of Commander.
Or the world's longest when he has.
Or the world's longest, yeah, but very involved with long turns and lots of things.
Either way, you won't be doing anything.
Yeah. He likes to make people watch him play Magic. But we love you, James. We're just Anyway, so he's given me a nice little breakdown. I'm not gonna go through all of them because, like James, he's thought these out very well. It's on the Facebook page if you want to go and have a look at it and read it. I would recommend that you do. It's quite a good insight into his mind. So as far as he goes,
it's a dark place, by the way.
It's dark place. So his favorites, his favorite one, I'll just go over that, was cycling. And as he says, it makes for better limited formats when it's a central mechanic. Wholeheartedly agree. And in general, if good cycling cards are made, it can also help to make decks outside of limited be potentially more consistent and just smoother. For example, Death Shadow with Street Wraith. Consistency is a nice thing, and Magic the Gathering needs more of it. Cycling is an easy 8 out of 10 for me, and I think we've kind of covered most of that when we were talking to Sean. He was a big fan of cycling as well. So yeah, I don't disagree with anything he says. And then we go least favorites. Any +1/+1 counter sort of mechanic, e.g. evolve or bolster, e.g. for example.
That's because he's mad. 'Cause
Well,
I beat
yeah,
him
obviously.
sometimes.
Yeah. There exists so many variants of putting +1/+1 counters on stuff that it just isn't interesting or remotely unique anymore. 3 out of 10. Explorer is probably the best sort of version of this because it at least had some variance to it. I have to disagree.
I did love Explorer.
I loved Jade Light Ranger, baby.
Such a card.
What a card. Just what a card. Just
I still think it was Wild Growth Walker that carried Explore.
Oh yeah.
That's what made the deck busted.
You see burn players so mad if you explored twice, they just couldn't kill it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're up against a burn player and you slap down a Walker on turn 2 and they know Jade's coming on turn 3, they're like,
It's a 2-mana 1 thing, isn't it?
Show me that lava coil and get fucked.
Yeah. I mean, you've got me going. I might have a look at a green black Explorer deck for Pioneer. But
I've made a couple of these.
I can link you one. I had one.
I'm sure. Yeah, I think so. Maybe. Yeah, but I mean, I'm just going to go on this a little more. It's like Jade Light Ranger in particular was an example of one of those green cards that was just good in a green deck in Standard and in Pioneer. I think it'll still see play. I don't think it's quite there for Modern, but
it didn't need to even have any synergies with anything else because worst case scenario, it's a 3-mana 2/1 that fills as the top of your library, and best case scenario, it's a 4/3 for 3.
Yeah, exactly. And
same with cycling, how it makes your decks more consistent. You're not ripping lands off the top consistently if you're exploring.
Exactly. Just gives you that little bit of scope to just filter something, fix something in your deck for 3 mana.
You'll be consistently hitting your land drops.
Yeah.
You'll be constantly putting things out on curve, or trying to.
Yeah, I just think it's a really good card. So I have to, just based on that card alone, I think Explorer was worth more than a 4 out of 10 from James. But yeah, like I say, he's done 4 positive, 4 ones he likes and 4 ones he doesn't like. So go and have a look at that on the Facebook page and give the man a little bit of love because he needs it. Bluntly, he's a dark and twisted individual that thinks Thoughtseize a bad card. But
fantastic.
What happened there?
Well, I disagree with him because my favorite mechanics is +1/+1 counters because I'm hella biased, and that's why I chose to play Hardened Scales, and that's why my favorite commander deck is based on +1/+1 counters and stuff. Because I like the fact that I can cheat power and toughness and manipulate other cards to do so. That for me is fun. It's not like a generic, I play this. Like Tarmogoyf is kind of like the mid-range answer to it. I get to fluctuate its power and toughness depending on what's in my graveyard for this cool little 2-drop. But with +1/+1 counters, you can just generally do that to any creature if your deck's based around it.
Yeah.
And that's what's really fun.
I think a good example of, or good reason that +1/+1 counters are good is it kind of makes like early game creatures better because Dan and Matt were playing a game on Arena before we started this podcast, and there's no Arboreal Grazer, but then turn 3, the first Iron games came out. So it's like, Arboreal Grazer is now what, a 3/6?
Yes, for one.
For one
drop an extra land.
Tech has been revealed, Matt.
Well, look, good ideas are good ideas. I'm not going to hate on it.
Yeah, man.
But the point is, like, the Arboreal Grazer...
I've stolen it.
The Arboreal Grazer would have been a crap card for the rest of the game if you didn't put some +1/+1 counters on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
It's a good way to make the most out of nothing, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah,
actually, another one that hasn't been mentioned is Devotion. I really like the idea of Devotion because it rewards players for keeping to a color. I really like that Wizards kind of came up with that idea. Okay, there's not really exactly busted Devotion lists out there. You got Mono White Devotion in Pioneer that was doing quite well. You had Mono Black in Modern, but both of them are kind of tailed off a bit because they're not super competitive. But I really like the idea of the mechanic.
Yeah,
Nyx Bloom Lotus and Commander as well. It's just
good card.
So good.
But I think you've got another one there. Yeah, with Devotion, that's another one of those mechanics that works beautifully well with its setting, with the set that it's from.
Yes, because the
Theros. Set all about gods, and if you worship your god properly, your god will reward you. Yes, and that's just a flavor
win all round.
Yeah, flavor win all round. It's exactly what you want. exactly what you want. Okay, so yeah, that was a list of our or a ramble about our favorite and least favorite mechanics. Again, I've mentioned this a few times. I'm going to keep mentioning it. If you've got any other thoughts, fire over on the Facebook page and drop us a message, put up a post. You know, let us know what you think. And if you're succinct and put out a good argument, then we'll give you a shout out in a future show. And the same goes for the next topic that we're going to talk about. I'm actually just going to let Matt lead on this one, and we're going to talk about the companion mechanic from Ikoria.
Okay, so my whole perspective on the companion mechanic is that I like that WotC came up with the idea. I'm a massive EDH fan, and the majority of Magic players are. EDH is a massively popular format. People just adore it because it's one of those kind of where you've got so much freedom to come up with ideas and that sort of stuff. So it's just taken off and people love it. Now they tried to introduce that into a standard sort of set where they're going, well, EDH is this massive success, so why don't we kind of introduce this sort of EDH idea where each kind of deck has its own little particular companion, which is fine. But I feel like where they went wrong is when they decided to print these cards, like design these cards. Like, so you've got Lurrus is obviously the big one that's ruining people, and the Azorius one, the flyer. Oh, what's the Azorius one that blinks things?
Oh, the 5-mana 3/5.
Yes.
The flickers.
Yes. Yeah. Hang on a minute. I'm looking for its name.
Yorton?
Yorion.
Yorion. So like those two are the two major ones, and there's a Bosch and there's more.
yeah.
I haven't learned all the names yet.
That's it. Yeah.
Now, like I like two of them when it comes to. I feel like they didn't fuck it up, and that's the Selesnya one where it's beasts, cats, thingy. Like basically,
Hero the Orphan Guard.
Yes.
Companion. So that's each creature card in your starting deck is a cat, elemental, nightmare, dinosaur, or beast card.
Yes. So that's a good example of a companion in my eyes because it doesn't do anything particularly busted. It rewards you by giving everything vigilance and +1/+1. So it's a really good lord that you have in your opening hand, but it kind of restricts any type of creature you can play. There's not really a lot of ways to abuse that where it's just purely broken, because at the end of the day, it's a 3-mana lord. There's been a lot of them printed.
Yeah.
But it is quite a nice little reward where you get the extra card in your hand at the start. And that's where a lot of people are not liking it, because you kind of start with the 8-card hand. So Sam, you were saying to me yesterday that, was it you saying to me yesterday that you should feel like you should exile a card from your hand to play it or something?
Jono was saying yesterday.
Oh yeah, Jono.
That's an idea. Yeah.
And so yeah, but like that's a companion done right in my eyes, where there's not really any ways to abuse it to the point where people are just going to get fed up with it, or you have to sideboard against it, or you have to, you need answers in your main deck because it's so proliferant within a multitude of different formats.
It's a good combo with that. There's like a little 2-drop, I think, where it gives you can tap down, like every creature that has vigilance can tap down.
Oh yeah, the Selesnya cat. The 3/5.
I got blown out by that.
Yeah, which is like it's a nice commander because you can have cool little interactions like that.
But there's a fun build around,
Yeah, but then on the flip side, you have companions, like Lurrus, which are just completely busted. You can't.
The restrictions aren't hard enough.
Yeah, like they are hard enough in standard to the point where Lurrus decks are still very, very popular in standard, but they're not exactly ruining the format. But every single other format, these companions are ruining those formats because they are so easy to build around.
Do you feel like you need to have a companion now?
Yes, or you need to have main deck answers to a companion, or you're just going to get blown out.
Yeah.
So like you can't expect players who have spent years and years fine-tuning particular archetypes and lists down to the cheapest, most efficient possible lists they can possibly make.
Yeah.
And then print something that lets you abuse the hell out of low CMC cards.
I think the a good example of exactly what you were just saying, Matthew, is Jund in Modern, because Jund in Modern is usually characterized by things like Bloodbraid Elf and Liliana of the Veil. But Jund is now playing Lurrus and just throwing both those cards out the window. Two very, very good and very, very powerful cards that were staples of the deck for years now.
Yeah.
And it's just gone, no, we don't want them anymore. We're playing Lurrus. We're back on Dark Confidant. And it's still a good deck. So people, sort of like Oko was being forced into decks wherever possible, or it got banned. Lurrus is now being forced into decks because it can.
Because you generate much more value off a single card than 4 copies of Bloodbraid with Cascade that gets you another card for free. Like,
and considering the permanents that are in a Jund deck, you know, like the potential for some back-breaking combos are just
it's really really strong. And it's the same. It's the same with the Flicker guy, and it's the same with the Wooburg Tapper. Like I saw what was it? Star City Games had a Modern deck where the guy was playing Niv Mizzet, and he had that Wooburg tapping. What's that? Wow, I got to remember the name of the companion.
Agantha.
Agantha, thank you. And basically, he cheated him out basically instantaneously. It was like turn 3. I think he could tap that thing to slap in a Niv Miz and refill his entire hand. It's like okay, that's what out of like the ones that can be abused the easiest. That one's not so easy to abuse, but for the fact that it is so good and slots into a lot of decks, like you can slot that into Tron. You can. Well,
it's being played in Tron.
Yeah, and like you don't have to change your list whatsoever. It's just and now I have 8 cards in my hand now.
Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah.
Got a 5/5, a bonus 5/5 that I just have every game. It's like you don't even need to change lists to put these creatures in, or their own auto include. So they're too abusable too easily in across too many formats.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I like the idea of having a companion / commander in a normal, outside of EDH.
Yeah.
That's cool. I really like the idea, and I feel like I said, the cat one was done right, and things like that, where the payoffs are pretty sweet, but they're not, game breaking.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
This companion would have existed if Brawl had a better uptake, because because the EDH was never really I don't think it still isn't a properly sanctioned format with Wizards. They just support it. They saw, how can we get in on this? So they invented Brawl for obviously standard legal sets, and that obviously wasn't very popular. Very many people came up and wanted to play it. So they probably looked at it and thought, right, this didn't work, but how can we still have that kind of effect and be impactful and have companion? I mean, obviously, I don't know that for certain. That's just my opinion, but it's a very companion-esque thing, and I think they've done it because of maybe Brawl's flop.
I think the only thing I would say that is that the sets are in production so far ahead. I don't think they would have been able to measure the success or lack of for Brawl.
When was Brawl? When was
Brawl? Brawl was last summer, wasn't it?
Was it only a year?
Brawl's been out longer than that.
Well, when did the Brawl decks come out?
I'm trying to Google right now and see.
Yeah, because I mean, either or. I mean, I totally get the point that you're making. Like, they try to do something, and Brawl's definitely something I want to talk on in a future show, because I actually really like the idea of the format. But yeah, I'm actually just writing that down now, so I remember it. But
there isn't actually a distinct answer. If somebody wants to tell us in a Facebook comment after, if I can't find it, then
that would be champion, wouldn't it?
I can't actually find the answer.
I think so. I think the thing that you're kind of saying there, Matt, is that companion is a good mechanic,
concept,
a good idea.
Poorly executed.
Yes,
great concept, poorly executed.
Yeah, because it is gonna break a lot of things, and I think that the biggest one for me was the because I played Jund Shadow, and I'm gonna dabble in Jund, but I'm waiting to see how Modern goes before I drop vast amounts of money on lots of fetch lands. But yeah, there's a meme came out of I'm sorry about the spoilers if you haven't seen it yet, but of Thanos and Baby Gamora. What did it cost you? Everything. And it's the meme of Luris on Baby Gamora and Bloodbraid Elf and Liliana of the Vale going away, and that's just like, wow. this is where we are in John. Like they've done this card's so good, it has taken away two of arguably the most. I mean, Bloodbraid Elf was banned.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, a card that was for a card that was powerful enough to have been banned, and Luris has come out and actually having the ability to play 2 mana or less from your graveyard was a more powerful ability than Bloodbraid into Liliana of the Vale
and
or
it's
Bob
strictly card
or
advantage
Goyf.
as well.
Yeah,
that's why Jono, one of our friends he's a pretty prolific player in Scotland as well. Me and Sam were talking to him last night. He was like, you should have to exile something from your hand to cast it, because it's just, if you aren't playing a companion, you are straight up, as soon as you shuffle, someone splits your deck, you're a card down. That's it. Be all, end all.
Yeah.
I have 8 cards in my opening hand and you have 7. I'm immediately at an advantage.
Yeah. I mean, in a game when you're at competitive levels, when that card is so vital, to be able to do it. And there's and I mean, there's other ones as well. I mean, like I'm just looking through a list of them just now. And like Zerda the Dawnwaker, that's the 1 red white. Each permanent card in your starting deck has an activated ability.
I really like that card because I think it's restrictive enough, kind of like Korea. Is that it's a legitimate build around.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, you've then got that abilities you activate that aren't mana abilities cost 2 less to activate. So this just enables infinite mana combos in EDH.
It does. But here's the thing: the go-to combo that I keep seeing popping up is your Basalt Monolith and that guy.
Yeah.
It's colorless. It's a massive deal. Like, there's not a lot of decks that can abuse infinite colorless because they need colored pips for a lot of the deck.
Every deck can abuse it. It's called Walking Ballista.
Yeah, well, sorry, yeah. Walking Ballista is another mistake that I like to abuse myself, personally.
Love that card.
Fantastic. But, like, generally, colored infinite mana is just so much better than non-infinite.
You're not wrong there. But I mean, there's plenty of filter rocks and things like that. You could you could get the colored mana you want. But I mean,
Astral Blade's still a thing, so
yeah. I think it's an interesting mechanic. There are some decks, like I really want to look into Obosh decks.
Me and Matt have been fiddling with that. He seems pretty good, but half your turns are kind of sketchy.
He's making absolute waves in mid-range decks in Pioneer because his ability is just so punishing.
Yeah.
But again, it's not like I don't see Obosh being in mini Eternal formats at all.
No.
Like I almost, if I see an Obosh in Modern, I'll be shocked. If I see it in anything older than that, I'm going to call the guy who's playing it a retard. You know what I mean? Like, it's but you know what I mean? It's like, okay, great, you're building around Obosh. Props to you for coming up with something original, but you're probably going to lose because you can't do anything turn 2 and 3, 4, and like. Well, I mean, you can obviously. But
you're either playing 2 things or you're playing nothing.
Yes,
that's the thing I was explaining to Daniel earlier, is that you can get around Obosh with something like Bonecrusher Giant. So you have a turn 2 play with Stomp, but it counts as a 3-drop card because of Bonecrusher Giant.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, things like Crashing Footfalls, I came up with the idea of Crashing Footfalls in Obosh because it seems really, really good. Because you can Crashing Footfalls is 1 mana and it comes out on turn 4 when typically you're not going to do anything. Yeah. And you're going to have 8 power.
Yeah, but the token doesn't get doubled by
the token doesn't get doubled, but you get 8 power on turn 5 from turn 1.
But you can also do that by not playing Obosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
You also can, but it's like one of those things where like you're most likely either going to be casting a 3-drop on your turn 4 and maybe a 1-mana spell, or you're probably just going to be stuck with a 3-drop and no
Turn
one
4,
spells.
you're wanting to
or,
play Obosh.
yeah.
Mm.
Or
Most
You know what I
likely,
mean?
because otherwise he's pretty expensive as a. I was about to say
yeah,
commander.
He's 5. So
Mhm.
5's
Yeah, but you'll have ramped up. Arboreal Grazer seems like a must-have
it's good.
in.
Well,
list.
in the pioneer lists that are doing well, they just got Elvish Mystic and Llanowar Elf because they're just much more
Yeah.
repeatable. But in standard, yes, Royal Grace is the go to.
Mhm. Yeah, they are. They are of a. There's obviously a strong variation of power level between the different ones. I mean, then we've not even mentioned literally the Spell Chaser, who was insta banned in Commander the second he was announced.
I
Which
think it was the same day, wasn't it?
yeah, well, he was banned before. I mean, it was just this card's been spoiled and it is banned because.
Yeah, because if you're in Commander and you're not running this, you should be.
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
why
yeah.
There's literally no reason for you not to.
Yeah, and if you're
Yeah.
not in Commander, why not?
And the reason why that was
That's a discussion for another day.
Yeah, well,
yeah, and the reason why it was immediately banned is because its requirement was that format.
yeah,
It
absolutely.
was you must have you can only have one copy, and that is EDH. So it's just like this is going to be an issue.
And it's got flash. When it just for
Yeah.
those who don't know about his abilities, when literally the Spell Chaser enters the battlefield, if you cast it, copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets for the copy. So,
Which the thing is, there's plenty of effects like that in Commander and cheaper as well. But it's the fact that it is always there.
yeah,
Yes.
it's you don't have to tutor for it. You don't have to hunt for it. You don't have to do anything. This card is just ready down.
I was speaking with a friend of mine, Sean, yesterday, and he brought up a great argument to this, and I wholeheartedly agree. It's like you have never had an outside of the game in Commander.
Yeah.
So why are companions allowed in Commander? Which is a really good argument because
That's a
there is
very good point,
sideboard.
actually.
There is no
the game is
sideboard.
usually based on your play groups, whether they want to or not.
Yeah.
But officially, there isn't.
Yeah, officially there is none, and officially it's not like standard or modern where you can have up to any amount of cards in your deck. It is a solid 100. You can't have more. You can't have less. You need 100. Well, you need 99 in a commander. Sorry, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So it's been set at 100, and it must be 100. And companions break both of those sort of rules.
Mhm.
So there is no outside of the game, but you have a companion in your sideboard, which doesn't exist. You also get to start your deck with 101 cards, which shouldn't happen.
Yeah. Oh no, he's still got to be part of the 99, hasn't he? A companion deck, companion card still has
What, for a
to be part of the
commander?
99. Yeah.
No, it is your 101st card outside
Oh really?
the game.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're breaking two fundamentals there just to allow companions, which
Jesus.
the rules committee actually didn't care about. And they were like, yeah, sure, use them. So maybe they know something we don't. But Sean raises a good point and believes it shouldn't have ever got through, and I agree.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Surely they play tested these cars and saw, fucking hell.
Well,
Right. So you say that.
Busted.
You say
Here
that,
we go.
Daniel. But what set did you start Magic?
That's a good point. I started at Aether Revolt. Walker
Right.
Burst.
So you weren't around for the fact that they allowed Saheeli Rai and Feldar Guardian to go through and not.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
They allowed that in the same
That
set.
was the old playtest group, and I think they all
Yes.
got moved sideways before. What's the name of the woman that? She was the one behind the Brawl decks, which is why all the Brawl decks were freaking awesome.
Oh, Melissa Del Toro.
Melissa Del Toro, yeah, that's right. She was part. She was moved. She not long after that. She and a few other like big names and pros were moved into the playtest team. They did a big thing about that, and that was one that I couldn't understand how they missed it because, I mean, I think it was like a couple of hours after it was spoiled. I remember the Magic group starting to go crazy about this infinite combo in Standard. How can they
turn
have
4
let
win
him-
infinite? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like in the set. If I remember, there wasn't very much in the way of Planeswalker removal.
Don't
Back
believe
then.
so. No.
It was. You had direct damage spells or you swung things. But but
I can understand missing interactions between completely different sets because that's bound to happen by accident. But
things will happen.
Not even like Kaladesh and Aether Revolt. They were both in Kaladesh.
Yes.
Yes, they're both in Kaladesh together.
Yeah, because she was the poster girl for the.
You could open a booster with an infinite combo in it.
Yeah.
Daft.
Yeah. God,
actually daft.
That was the dream at pre-release, wasn't it? That was the dream. Yeah. And that was ridiculous. Plus the fact they were in Jeskai colors as well. So not only are you running this infinite damage combo, you're also going to be running counter spells, and you're going to be running removal
board wipes,
and exactly.
You also got both the Jeskai fast lands. You got Spiralbluff Canal and Inspiring Vantage in Kaladesh as well.
That's right.
So it was all the build around.
I tell you what, Kaladesh was a great set. I opened 4 booster boxes of that.
I love Kaladesh. Energy was a really parasitic mechanic, but I really love the theme of Kaladesh, the plane, and
my god, energy!
The art was fantastic for it.
How did I forget energy? Oh, who doesn't want a 1-mana 3/4?
The elephant. I love elephants.
Yeah. Oh, I love that deck. I love that deck so much.
One day, Loxodons will be a strong tribe, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. Loxodon commander decks. That's the dream. But I think. Okay. So to sum up, I think an interesting.
There's one companion we haven't touched on actually. That's Garuda.
You see, that's the one that's on my screen. I'm looking at him just now, and also thinking about filthy mill things that I can do with them. But anyway, that's a conversation for another day. Go for it, Matt. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there.
That's all good. Garuda. Garuda is one of those sort of companions where, it seems really broken. And I was speaking to Jono yesterday, and he was saying there's a deck in Legacy where you win turn 0. Well, turn 1, you draw a card. If you've got ley lines in your hand, you win. And that seems absurd. Actually unreasonable.
So for a 6-mana, this is a 6-mana 6/6.
This is a 6-mana 6/6 you can cast on turn 1, essentially. So you go Ley Line of Anticipation or something like that, and you get your Lotus Petals, you cast it, and you basically just go through and win.
Oh, guys, boys! I found my Legacy deck.
Yeah, it's basically. Do you have Force of Will? No, you lose.
Yeah,
it's basically that.
You'll need some LEDs for that day, so have fun buying those.
Yeah. I mean, it's they're not going to be like it's not going to be amazing. But I'm just looking at the artifacts: 4 Chrome Mox, 4 Lion's Eye Diamonds, 2 Mox Diamonds, and 4 Grim Monoliths. It's just a casual $3,000 worth of artifacts.
It's going to hurt you a little bit in the wallet.
Yeah.
But Garuda in Standard is kind of like the only. It plagues best of 1, but it's easily disruptible. Yeah, the deck's very good at just going off. Like, how many videos have you seen of people playing this deck on LAN and they have nothing on board, and then all of a sudden they have fucking 40 power on board, and you're just like,
And then they get an Agent of Treachery out their graveyard, and then or a Spark Double, is it?
Yeah.
Spark Double, yeah.
And keep copying it and
then
faster to blink it.
Treachery, and then suddenly you've got no lands because your permanents have all been.
It's a very glass cannony sort of deck, in my opinion. I don't feel like it's going to see a lot of best of 3 wins. Like, I don't see it winning a lot of tournaments because people are just going to be like, okay, I'll just bring in Hushbringer or any ETB canceller, and your deck's useless now. Or like, because like Modern and all that sort of stuff have things like Torpor Orb and a vast array of stuff of like this.
You're going to have a sideboard with a lot better answers.
Yeah. Like Line of the Void is in
Standard
Arena, a standard right now. Like, it doesn't work on MTGO, and that's why they banned it, right? But in Arena, I'm pretty sure the player puts the top 4 cards into his exile zone and gets fuck all.
Yes.
No, right. So give me 2 seconds. Let me bring up the rulings for Garuda, because the problem is it works as it's supposed to, but I can't. Right, give me 2 seconds. Let me get the rulings up for it.
I know there was a bit of a faff around with this. So
also, while I'm looking this up, do you want to both feel, or all of us feel old? Brawl had a separate ban list from May 2018.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I still lived in Centre of Time when it was released.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was 2 years ago.
Guys, I wasn't even playing Magic then.
What? 2018. Do you remember 2018? We weren't in lockdown then. It was amazing.
Right, so Garuda rulings. If a replacement effect causes a player to exile the top 4 cards of their library, instead of putting it into the graveyard, as Garuda's triggered ability resolves, the creature card you choose may be one of them in exile. So they go to exile and they stay in exile, but you still get to choose from the top 4 cards.
Technically hit in the graveyard first, then move to exile. Okay.
And I think it was banned in MTGO because it was just exiling, you weren't getting anything. I don't want to, that's not 100%.
Okay, that's maybe where I came up with this.
Basically, it wasn't working as intended, but that is the ruling, is that you do still get one of the top 4 cards, even with Leyline of the Void.
But nonetheless, like I said, Torpor or Harshbringer, anything that cancels ETB still gets around a lot of that sort of stuff.
Yes. Okay.
The decks, like it's like the Soul Herder decks. Like Soul Herder will most likely want to play that companion, but
yeah,
I haven't seen any lists with it recently myself. Not that I've been looking, to be fair, but I haven't seen any lists because 6 mana is just a lot of mana in those older formats. It's you need to win the game for this sort of mana.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's it's not a guaranteed win because you can whiff and whatnot.
Yeah. In Standard, I was playing against Sean with this the week after release on Arena. And I was playing with Abzan Humans, and he was just wrecking me left and right, because I've got a deck full of creatures. And he was like, all right, we'll play a best of 3 game. Like, what have you got? And I was looking through my deck lists. I've taken so much stuff apart, but I still had mono blue mill made in a sideboard. So we go up into the next game, just like, all right, that's fine. Start milling him out. Get 3 drowned secrets on the board, and he's like, I can't do anything. Yes. Oh, I love Mill.
Make Mill good again.
Make Mill great again. I swear to God, Mill is a great deck in Modern. It is.
I've come up against Mill a couple.
It is
bad in Pauper.
It's literally 1 card away from being a tier deck.
It catches decks out. It is a very.
It was so. I mean, the first ever tournament I went to. I'm not going to talk about it. It's fine. We'll talk about it another day. Dave talks about Mill. That's what we're going to do. Yeah.
You are a big Mill fan. We're aware of this. We know
I love it.
The heart lies.
I just love watching the hope in my opponent's eyes just slowly die as their graveyard gets bigger than their library.
There's nothing makes me happier to do against a Mill player than shuffle my graveyard back into my library. and then look at their eyes and be like,
Yeah, well, I mean, Sam knows that look well. Sam and I met across a table when he was Elvish Pipering Emrakul into play.
I'd like to point out that this was my first. I had played Kitchen Table Magic up until this point and had no idea about formats, about how actual decks and metas worked. So, like, 3 of us turned up to the where the old LGS was, played against all these top-tier Modern players who knew what they were doing. I think it was round 1 I faced you, Dave, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
And I was like, cool, okay,
or maybe round 2, because it was definitely round 2, because I remember that tournament I was playing against Sean, and he was playing an Azorius control deck that literally had Celestial
Sean
Colonnades.
plays control? Filth.
Yeah. As his... Yeah, Sean Rattray, not Sean... not Sheepy.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant Sean.
No.
So, yeah, so I sat across the table from Dave.
Yeah.
I can't remember... I think it was the first game I put an Elvish Piper down and you didn't kill it. And I was like, cool, next turn, tap it, put Emrakul the Aeon Storm into play.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. And then the next game, I had Emrakul the Aeon Storm and Olimorg the Infinite Gaia in my deck. So I was, every time they got milled, I was shuffling in my library.
And I couldn't find surgical extractions. That was the thing. And I was borrowing my Leyline of the Void off Scott. And the week before, he asked for them back because like they were spiking, and he wasn't sure what he was going to do with them. And I was like, "Yeah, man, no worries at all. I won't need them. I've still got surgicals. It'll be all right." And I couldn't find one in 2 games, and it was just, it was so painful.
And that was the only match I won that day because my deck was terrible otherwise, but it was still fun.
I did. I'd made that was the tournament. I made changes to the deck the night before, It was like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that because the changes were bad. Like putting in Ashiok, old like Theros Ashiok. But anyway, yes. Before we go off too much of a tangent. Yeah, so companions, a great idea, poorly executed. Do you think going forward we're going to see more companions being released, maybe with a slightly lowered power level, or do you think that Wizards are like, I think this is possibly a failed experiment? I mean, obviously we're talking like hypothetically because I mean the set's not even out in paper yet, but
I think
I said. Oh, sorry, Sam. Sam, you go.
That's okay. I think it's too early to tell. Obviously, it is dominating at the moment, both standard, modern, and eternal formats. But like anything else, people need time to adapt, bring in cards to counter it, and let the format settle. If it turns out that they do have to end up banning either Lurrus or Gyruda or something like that in Legacy, then maybe, but I don't know.
There's so much talk, and a lot of the Facebook groups I'm in and Reddit groups. There's like I'm seeing polls of like, will Lurrus be banned in paper before the set releases, and stuff like that. It's like, wow, the Lurrus hate is strong, really strong.
I don't think it will be while things like Leyline and that are still in the formats.
Yeah.
There are answers.
There's Grafdigger's Cage as well. There's like there is genuine answers that will, that other formats are using these exact same cards to answer these things, and they are in standard.
3-mana Ashiok as well.
Yeah.
Ashiok. What a card! What a card!
What a card!
Just
but like, I hope they don't do this too soon. I hope they take away from this a vital lesson and think, well, okay, we'll ban the broken ones, and we'll try and actively make our ones if they do it again. Because I like the idea, like I said, but there needs to be more of a restriction or deficit to include them into your deck.
Yes. I would be interested to see if I don't think they would, because it probably sets too much of a precedent, but whether they would change the actual rulings on Companion itself. So because something like, if you start this game with the Companion in your sideboard, you must start the game with 6 cards in your hand.
Yeah. So everybody starts on 7. Yeah.
I don't see them doing that because, like I said, it sets a precedent that any mechanic that they don't like that doesn't have specific wording on a card, they can just change at will. But I do think that Companion needs more of a downside, a generic downside, not necessarily it has to be a harsher restriction. It has to be a generic downside for just playing the Companion.
If you're using a deck with a Companion mechanic, you only draw 6 cards on your first draw step.
Something like that. Yes.
Do Companions count as one of your cards in your sideboard?
Yes. So you only have a 14 card sideboard.
That's where they thought the whole you can't. Yeah, you lose one in your sideboard, but you gain one in your main. That's probably where they were thinking. Oh, it's kind of like a net zero, but it's not. It's not even close.
So not. it's so much better than that. I mean, like the number of times that I've played decks and just like, why is this card even in my sideboard? I don't use it. I don't need it. How much more handy would an effect that impacts my deck in a really strong fashion starting in my opening hand? God, when you say it like that, how did that get through?
It's like wish cards. Like wish cards are fine in my opinion, because you have to take a turn usually to go fetch the card. You've revealed it to your opponent most of the time. They know what's coming. But it is like a 2-part process, whereas this is just, it's always there.
Yeah.
Like Mastermind's Acquisition was 4 mana, because I remember you ran your Mono Black Rainbow deck back when I played Standard.
Yep.
Oh, Mono Black.
I love Mastermind's Acquisition.
It's a good card.
Yeah.
And there's one in Standard at the moment, the Fairy, for the same mana, 4 mana, but blue.
Fae of Wishes.
Is it an instant?
Yeah.
No, it's a sorcery. You can
sorcery. So
it's granted Way in Fishes. Fae of Wishes, sorry.
Way of Fishes.
I call it Way of Fishes when I get angry at it.
That's brilliant. But I'm just laughing.
On actual real life, it's Fae of Wishes.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh man.
I've got a lot of names for a lot of cards. Like Grandpa Snake is Questing Beast because it looks like a Grandpa Snake. I do this instinctively.
No, there we go. That's a feature show. What does Matt call
we have to guess what the actual card is.
Yeah, what is the true name of this?
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. But yeah, okay. So to sum up, Matt, give me a sentence or two of Companions.
Fantastic idea, poorly executed. Try again, please.
That works. Sam?
Oh God, you put me on the spot now. I just don't think it's something that should exist in general. I think the sideboard has to be kept as the sideboard. And like I say, I do like wish cards. I think they're perfectly fine. But bringing the sideboard as a permanent addition to your main deck is a problem. And it also companion. I'm sorry, this is more than one sentence now. It affects best of one formats, Commander as well, and it just gives you extra cards that you shouldn't have. So it's especially in best of one formats, not necessarily best of three formats. Obviously, you have access to 75 cards either way. But in best of one formats, you are starting with a 61 card deck with no downside. Aside from the companion restriction, but you are being given an additional card that you can cast at any time that you will never have access to if it was in your natural sideboard. So I think it's a mistake in that regard.
Okay. And Dan?
I think they just tried to copy commanders from Commander, and they pushed them a little too hard to make people horny for them.
I don't see anything wrong with that. I think people are horny for the new set and new set mechanics, and
which is also the weirdest
cards.
situation to be in. Not allowed outside, but I've never wanted to play a set so much in my life.
Oh man, yeah.
I think it's got it's like the placebo effect where I don't know I want it that much until I actually try it and I end up hating it anyway.
Yeah.
You're the first person to bitch about a pre-release and like getting a crap rare or something like that, but you'll be the first in line with all of us to play a pre-release of this set once everything reopens.
Yeah, like, bro, have you seen my pools? Is it unjustified? Can we please have an episode on how fucking shit I am at pulling decent cards, please?
Yeah. I mean, we can totally do that. We could do a live pack opening when your camera
got so
arrives.
much backed up data on this, honestly.
Good times.
But like I said, Ashiok's Erasure, the extended art of Ashiok's Erasure is on Arena today as the daily deal, so you can pick that up because that's your favorite card. You open
for those of you who don't know, that's what I got for my pre-release in Theros. I also opened a collector's booster and got a full art foil one, and I also opened a foil one, which is the only foil rare I've opened in Theros. And also, not to mention, the 3 times that I've walked away with F&M packs, I've got 2 out of 3 of those packs had them. I hate that card.
Man. I mean, if you still have that foil, Matt, and you and I can have a chat after the show, I think.
Oh yeah, mate. In fact, I'll give it to you. It'll be a gift. When's your birthday?
December.
Happy early gift.
Thanks, man. I love it. But yeah, I think that kind of sums it up. I mean, I like it. I think it's a good idea, poorly executed. And some people will think that it's a bad idea, poorly executed. But yeah, companions. I think the time's gonna tell us whether or not or how much of a mistake it was. I think that I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how the meta evolves over the next couple of months before the next release. Of what's it? It's Core 2021. Core 21. Yeah.
Is that the next release?
Yeah, that's next.
It's in July because it's supposed to be when Liverpool, because Liverpool's supposed to be limited, isn't it?
That's right. Was it limited? Yes, it was. Yeah.
I can't remember, but yeah, around about that. Yeah, because it's 2 months until the next.
Right. Yeah.
I'm getting absolutely hammered and playing limited.
So yeah, Liverpool is supposed to be Core 21 limited.
Yeah, and it still hasn't been cancelled yet, so you never know.
Well, the good news is I've managed to save up money now that I'm not doing anything in real life.
Yeah.
That's it.
I've got all my money ready for it.
I mean, I was doing really well until Sonia and I drank our way through about 80 quid's worth of booze last night. That was a sore one. But yes, thank you very much for listening, everybody. It has been a pleasure talking about our favorite and least favorite mechanics. I hope that you've enjoyed listening to it. If you have, give us a shout out. We are on the social media now. We have a Facebook page. You just need to search the Bored State. Remember, we are bored as in we're bored with nothing to do, not bored as in board games. Same on Instagram. I'm going to start putting some more images and things up from games on that page. And yeah, give us a shout. I hope you enjoyed it. From me, that is goodbye. Matt, have you got anything you'd like to say?
No, yeah, I think you summed it up pretty well. Thank you for joining us and all that good stuff. I'll see you when I'm looking at you, which is never, I guess.
How are you doing there, Sam?
What, in general, in life, or?
Well, why not? This is your chance to speak.
Yes, I can speak, and people will listen to me. You're forced to listen to me. Haha.
Oh, if only,
I'm fine. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people have been clawing the walls and stuff like that, just wanted to get out. But I actually enjoy living by myself. I've been catching up on anime, and I got my PS4 working, so I've been catching up on games with that. Playing D&D with some of my friends down in England. So, and doing a lot of baking, which I don't usually do. So I'm actually quite enjoying it. I do want to go back to work, and I do want to play Magic because I haven't seen your guys' faces properly in God knows how long now. But no, if it goes on for another 6 weeks, then I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. In fact, I'll probably get more sleep.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. Dan, any closing thoughts from yourself?
Keep busy. Brew some decks. I want to see more weird homebrew stuff on Arena.
Okay.
Because I can't claw out a silver right now.
Make shit decks so I can win.
No, then that's an awesome point. Yeah, guys, if there's any super spicy terrible decks that you've got brewed up, drop us a line on the Facebook page, and we will have a look through. And you never know, in a future episode we might even do an episode on our favorite janky decks.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
And that's
I'm
it.
full of them.
Yeah. You're a master brewer.
Of beer, I'm not sure about alcohol.
Well, I always, it's whenever Matt and Dan say I've got this idea for a deck, it's always that kind of ears prick up moment. I'm listening.
It'll work one time out of 1,000, and it'll be so sweet.
But that one time,
as opposed to mine, where it works 50% of the time, all the time.
Sex Panther. Oh, amazing! And on that note, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned because we're going to try and pump out some more of these while we're all in lockdown. And yeah, keep safe, be happy, and we will catch you next time. Bye bye.